Jonesy and Amanda.
Jam Nation.
She is the editor of the Daily Oz. Gillespie is here with That's Entertainment.
Hello. Well, it's real life succession this week. The Murdoch family are in court fighting against each other in honestly a case that could be another season of the HBO show that we love and miss, Succession. Rupert Murdoch and his son Lachlan are going against three of Rupert Murdoch's other kids, James, Elizabeth and Prudence, because Rupert wants to break up this family trust to give all the power of Fox News and News Corp after he dies to his son Lachlan.
But people for many years have been wondering what the succession plan would be, and for a while it looked like James. Someone said that Elizabeth is actually the media genius in the family, but she stepped aside some time ago. Why is he changing it?
So Lachlan Murdoch has been the boss of Fox News for 5 years now. He became CEO in 2019, and then last year Rupert announced he was stepping back from News Corp as well, and Lachlan was appointed chair of that organisation. And it's obvious to everyone from the outside looking in that Lachlan really is Daddy's protege. Lachlan is the Kendall Roy of this situation, and he's really been groomed over many, many years to kind of take over the reins. He's very politically aligned with Rupert. He's super right-wing, conservative. His agenda is very much playing out by the minute on Fox News over in the US. Very pro-Trump, very make America great again.
Is he
agenda.
pro-Trump?
Yes.
I thought they flipped.
No, Fox News is hugely still pro-Trump.
Hugely.
Because I've had a few dealings with Lachlan. He seems like a pretty reasonable guy. He rides motorbikes. He's got a tattoo.
He's a great guy,
He's a
but that
reasonable
doesn't.
sort of guy.
This is his allegiances, though.
I think that's kind of the danger or the prominence of his power is that he's a player that kind of can seem like a reasonable, nice, normal guy, but at the end of the day, he's willing to make the tough calls like his dad. But what's interesting about this legal battle is the four kids that I mentioned are part of what's called an irrevocable trust. Now, this was set up in 1999 after Rupert Murdoch divorced Anna, who is the mum of Lachlan, James and Elizabeth.
Yep.
It's like a will, but it's a really intensely legally binding document. It's essentially not meant to be able to be changed. Once an irrevocable trust is finalised, its terms cannot be changed.
Wow.
Now, that trust dictates that those four children, after Rupert dies, would be given equal voting rights and equal control of his corporations. So News Corp, Fox Corp.
And is this
But
because
it's like
James
a government, though.
James in recent years has turned more leftish leaning?
Yes,
is that what's
exactly.
brought all this on?
James has come more to the centre. I think it's just that, Lachlan has become the most involved in the family business of any of Rupert Murdoch's kids. So it makes sense from, that perspective. But
To take their voting away, obviously they're not happy. That's why it's in court.
exactly. So
But also with the voting or with the media, people lean into what's negative. So it's all about clickbait. So it's
Well, I
like
think
what we've
James
been-
stepped away because he was concerned about how Fox was covering climate change.
Yeah.
That's why he thought, I can't align
But
myself
people don't
with
want to
this.
hear about climate change
Well,
because people don't want to hear.
That's the thing. That's why we have Fox,
But
and
that's
that's
the
why we have
media.
other networks.
But you know what I mean? Like
It's-
if we talked about climate change all the time, we would lose listeners because people don't want to hear about it.
Yeah,
well,
but-
particularly when it's an election year
Yeah.
in the US.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard enough to get Australians to care about it, let alone Americans. But when you factor in the political climate there, I think what seems like a sort of family fight, if you really sort of look at the nitty gritty of it, if those voting rights are lost to those other children, and if Lachlan has full control, if, Rupert 2.0 then takes over after he dies, then you're essentially looking at a future where Fox News has no hope of becoming the once more moderate news service
Can
that
we?
it was.
Can I bookend this? If you were inherited, if you were a Murdoch child, would you want to be the sit back and cruise kid? Or the one that wants to run the business?
I don't think any of
Because I
them
think
sit
it'd be
back and
kind of-
cruise. They're not like the kids of property developers. They've been groomed to run
Yeah.
the
But I
business.
think about James Packer when Kerry died and James inherited all that. And then he said, right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make this giant casino empire.
Yeah.
If he just got all the billions of dollars off his dad, put it in the bank, he'd probably be in the same position
Well,
he
I
is now.
think he's a really good example for a local example of what it would be like to have an extremely powerful and influential father who is not only rich but incredibly ambitious and incredibly passionate about his business projects. And I think same thing with the Murdoch kids. It's nice to think that if you were the kid of a billionaire, you'd fly around on your private jet and live life large. But the pressure I think that is put on them and the psychological impacts of that, I don't think that they can sort of just sit still. There's that sort of constant fire burning in them to want to want to please daddy.
And also, as
honestly.
we saw in Succession, it was the idea that they were running a media empire got lost in the ambition fight. It's a hugely responsible job to run a network, and that's what we're seeing, as you said, with Lachlan at the helm. That's Fox's fate, ready to go.
I see me on a sun lounge on a massive ozone hole making yacht. That's what I see.
Well, this is going to play out over the next 2 weeks. My favorite thing about this is the case is being heard in Reno, Nevada, which is a famously dead-end part of the world. Why there? Because family trust law in Nevada, in the state of Nevada, is quite loose or favourable towards what Rupert is trying to achieve. There's also no tax on any kind of estates. So it's favourable conditions and really strict privacy laws that would allow him to make changes that he wouldn't necessarily have to disclose to the rest of the trust. Wow. But I just love imagining this family camped out in Reno, Nevada for 2 weeks. Can you think of the
it's pretty down. It's pretty down, run down.
It is. The private jets in a tent.
Well, plenty of places to park. Thank you, Em.
Thank you.